Hello everyone, and this is another tutorial from the series of tutorials of 3ds Max for Verge3D. Today we'll talk about how to make your scene in a browser look just like your scene in 3ds Max. Also we'll talk a little bit about some more new options which are available after installing Verge3D, about the scene setup and more. Okay, let's start. First, let's start by setting up the 3D windows in 3ds Max. We need to set it up a bit, so the picture in 3ds Max and the picture in the browser would be almost identical. For that, first I need to set up the quality parameters to the high quality. Also, if necessary, you can turn the option Illuminate with Scene Lights on. The shadow checkmark in the lightning and shadows section, and turn the ambient occlusion checkbox off so it won't be on our way. Also, you can select the realistic materials with maps in the materials section once. In the shading section, you need to select the default shading if it isn't so already. And in the Viewport background section, you need to select environment's background, so the environment texture that you have on your world will also be presented in the Viewport window. Let's actually set up the environment texture. For that, let's go to Rendering, Environment, and in the Environment Map section, I will select Bitmap and choose some environment texture. Well, I happen to have this texture. And now you can see our environment map instead of the black background texture. Let's have a sneak peek. And yes, you can see in the browser, you see just the same environment texture. And now to understand a bit more the setting up of the scene for Verge3D, let's add a test object. In my case, I will add a teapot. And assign some material to it. Just the standard material. Here I add it, assign it, and also I will press Show Shaded Material in a viewport. So all of our possible material setups will be visible also in a viewport of 3ds Max. So for our environment texture to be reflected in a teapot surface, I will add the nodes Reflect Refract and put it in the reflection input of my material. And now you can see the environment texture being reflected by the surface of the teapot. Let's do a sneak peek. And yes, in the browser you see exactly the same picture as in a 3D Studio Max. Let's make this setup a little bit more complicated. I will add the Flow node, set it to the Now type, and put it in a specular color. Also, let's set some color to it. Let's do a sneak peek again. And yes, the picture still is the same, just like in 3ds Max. Okay, now let's talk about light sources. Verge3D supports all of the light sources except for skylight. At first, I will choose the most simple light source, Target Spotlight, and add it to the scene. Doing a sneak peek again. And yes, now we can see some light and shadows play, just like in 3ds Max. The teapot is highlighted from the same side. And now let's talk about shadows on a light source. For that I will add a plane under my teapot. Set a standard material to it. And to turn the shadows on the scene on, you need to enable the shadows checkbox in the light source options. So in a 3ds Max viewport we already see the shadows. Let's do a sneak peek. And we see shadows here too. But we also see some artifacts on a teapot and on a plane. To get rid of them, we need to tune a bit the bias parameter under the Shadow Map Params tab. For example, I will set it up to 5 and do a sneak peek again. And as we can see, a lot of these artifacts are gone. Let's tune it a little bit more. And now artifacts are gone. Also, to enhance the quality of shadows, I will enhance the resolution of shadow map. Instead of 512, I will set it to 1024. And now you can see that the quality of shadows went significantly up. Okay, now let's talk about camera setup. Verge3D supports two types of camera, free camera and circuits camera. Let's add a target camera to our scene. Do a sneak peek. And yes, you can see that the scene is shown from the same angle as in the 3ds Max. Now let's talk about the supported camera parameters, which help to set up actually our view from the camera. First, FOV is supported. And by tweaking it, I can tweak the field of view of the camera. So you will be able to see more or less things on your scene. Do a sneak peek. But most importantly, let's talk about the new camera options, which became available after installing Verge3D. You can find them in the Verge3D camera params, and the first in the list is the checkbox Allow Panning. It enables or disables the possibility to move the camera by holding the right mouse button. Let's do a sneak peek again. If I turn this checkbox off and do a sneak peek, I'm not able to move camera anymore. Now it is strictly fixed on a place, and now I can only rotate or zoom in and out the camera. Here you can also change the speed of moving camera, speed of rotating camera, and also you can limit the zooming distance in and out. Or you can select the closer ends, or in other words you can set the inner and outer borders from the camera to the target. For example, let's set it to 2 meters to 10 meters and do a sneak peek. And as you can see, I can't zoom too close to my teapot. This is the border. I can zoom in more. And the same with the outer border, I can't zoom out more. And next very important option is the view angle. The default position is 0 degrees on any of the axes or camera looking straight down. And all of the borders options will be counted from this exact position. For example, if I set the border to 90 degrees, the camera will be able to lower down to 90 degrees, but not more. The same goes for the minimum angle. If I set it to 45 degrees, the maximum border for camera going up will be 45 degrees. So the camera will be locked between 90 degrees and 45 degrees from the vertical position. Now let's do a sneak peek again. And yes, now you can see that the camera is locked between 90 and 45 degrees. Exactly what we wanted. Okay, now let's talk about some specific options of the export. The first option lets you to enable LZMA compression for the scene. So for example, if your scene has a lot of data, this option helps you to make your scene much more lightweight. Apparently, you can lower the weight of your binary file after export up to 6 times. The next option enables the outlining of an object with a color. To work with outlining, you need actually to enable it through the puzzles, logic nodes, or through the code. But first of all, you need to enable outlining here and to set it up. For example, you can set up the strength, the thickness, and its color. Okay, and the last panel is animations. These options let you enable or disable the export of animations on a whole scene. You can limit the animation export by the timeline, so everything that will go past the timeline marks will be cut, while everything that will be inside the timeline marks will be exported to the scene. The next option, keyframe starts with 0. This option moves your animation to the beginning of the timeline if it doesn't start from it. For example, if your animation starts from 35th frame, but you don't have any keyframes before it, so the 35th frame will become the 0th frame. Alright, that's all. I hope that was helpful. In the next tutorial, I will tell you how to connect the textures to the PBR material, about the specific export of the scene to the GLB format, for further publishing it on Facebook. Thank you for listening.